So in this screencast, we're going to talk about using for loops in Matlab. So you should use a for loop when, one, you want to run the same code over and over, but with small changes each time. That's one point. And the second point is when you know how many times or how many iterations you need to run. And so with a for loop, you can do that. You can run the exact same code over and over and over again with just small changes each time without having to copy it and then paste it again and then paste it again below over and over again, and having to then go back and make the slight change each time. So to execute the for loop, you want the following structure. So you want to write the word for. That's a special word in Matlab. It'll turn blue. And then after the word for, space, you want a dummy variable equals to a row vector and then the code that you want to execute. After the code you want to execute, you want to type the word end. End is also a special word in Matlab and it will also turn blue. So what is this dummy variable? So the dummy variable is a variable that changes each time you go through the loop. Or each iteration. Now usually the dummy variable is something like I or j or k or n or something like that. In addition to the dummy variable, you need that equal to a row vector. So what is this row vector? It's a row vector that it's basically a list. It's a row vector that lists the values that you want the dummy variable to take on. And oftentimes this row vector will be something like, something like 1:n, where n is the number of times that you want to go through the loop. So basically what you're doing with this for loop is that you want your dummy variable, say I, to take on the value 1, then 2, then 3, all the way up to the value n every time you go through the loop. So every time you go through the loop, the value of I changes. Of course, this row vector doesn't have to be just a simple, colon-based row vector where each element is, 1 greater than the one before it, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, all the way up to n. You could have any row vector, which is basically any list of any set of values that you want your dummy variable to take on as it goes through the loop. So just as a silly example down here, I have 1, -5, pi, 0.78, logarithm of 3, etc. And if you wrote the for loop that way, then the first time you would go through the for loop, the dummy variable would take on the value 1. The second time it would take on the value -5, etc. So let's just take a look at a very simple example of how to use a for loop. So in this example, we want to write a script that contains a for loop that will calculate the natural log of x for the values of x in the following table. X basically taking on these values. Now I don't care. These values aren't in any particular pattern. I just wanted to have an illustration. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define our variable x. Then we're going to run the for loop just like this. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So in our script, we're going to say x is equal to, and just paste it in those values. And then I'm going to say for I, that's our dummy variable, equals 1 to the length of x. Now this function here, length of x, that's a function that basically says for however long x is. So x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 elements long. So this row vector is essentially saying for I equals 1 to 9. Now, what you might note is that there are two things about this. First, as soon as I type in the word 4 and don't do anything other than that, Matlab is giving me this sort of angry underline under 4. If you hover over that, it says, hey, look, you missed an end that needs to match this 4. As a part of that little red underline, also puts a little cross through it, or a strike through it if you click on it. But as part of that red underline, you see this little red bar over here to the side, which is saying, hey, you got an error right here in your code. And in addition to that, if you have any errors in your code, then this square up here will turn red. At any rate, so if you want this to go away, you could type in the word end afterwards, and then Matlab becomes happy again. The other thing to notice is that after I typed 4, I equals 1 to length x, and I hit enter, the next line of code, Matlab automatically indents it for me. So what that means is that now I know that all the code that's sort of indented, just in terms of formatting the script to look nice, I know that that code is part of this for loop. Okay, so for I equals 1 to length x, and I want to calculate the natural log of x at each one of these, for each one of these x's, so I say log. By the way, in Matlab, just the plain old log, that's the natural log. If I wanted the common logarithm, or the base 10 logarithm, it's log base 10, like that. But just log, that's the natural log in Matlab. So I want to calculate the log of x of I. And I put a semicolon in there to suppress the output. Now don't worry about this particular underline right now. It's not a big deal for us at the moment. But take another look at what's going on here. So every time you go through the loop, we're going to go through the loop 9 times. And the first time we go through the loop, the dummy variable, I, will take on the value 1. And so this x of I refers to 3.751. And so what it's saying is, in the value y of I, or the first value of y, or the first element of the vector y, store in that the natural log of 3.751. The second time we go through the loop, the dummy variable I will take on the value 2, and so the log of x of I will be the log of 8.634, which will then be stored in the second element of y, because I equals 2, so y of I is y of 2, etc. And as we run through this code, then in the end, we're going to get a row vector y, which will basically be the natural log of each one of the elements of x. So let's go ahead and run that. So I saved that script as name example.m. So if I type in example, then it will run the script. And what you can't see is that as it ran the script, it made a new variable x, and then it made a new variable y, where each element of y is the natural log of each element of x. So if I type in x, that's what I get. And if I type in y, then I get each element of x, the natural log of that. Now there are a couple more things to note about this for loop. So the first one is that each time you go through the for loop, so each time you go through the loop, or each iteration, sorry, that does not look like time. Each time you go through the loop, something needs to be accomplished. And what do I mean by that? If you note, every time you go through the loop, it's storing something in a new element of this variable y. So every time it goes through the loop, the thing that actually happened gets remembered by Matlab. In this case, the calculation of the natural log of x of I gets stored into this element y of I. Now if I didn't have that, then it would just go through the loop and the Matlab would forget everything that it did. So the something in this case needed to be accomplished, and in this case it was storing a new value of y of I. And if it didn't do that, then there'd be no point in running the for loop. It would just be running through this code over and over and over again and forgetting what happened each time. And the other thing to note is that a much more efficient way for you and for Matlab to run this is to just simply type y equals log of x. So you don't have to write a for loop for this to calculate the natural log of x element by element and store it in the vector y element by element. You can just do it all at once with just one line of code. And this is because Matlab is specifically written to perform these sorts of calculations on vectors and matrices. So let's take a look at that really quick. So here all I'm going to do is say y is equal to log of x, and it just automatically spits it all out for me all at once.